Hello friends. Welcome to the investment wall. Today, we are going to discuss about the dividend, and important dates to keep in mind, when holding a dividend paying stocks, like declaration date, record date, ex-dividend date, and at the end, we will take into consideration some best dividend paying stocks. So, let's begin with dividend. Dividend is that part of profit, which is paid in cash to the shareholders by the company. And, dividend is expressed as a percentage of its face value, or paid-up value. Dividend can be given from profits, whether from the current year's profit, or if company has incurred loss, then it can distribute dividend out of past accumulated profits, and not out of capital. However, company can pay dividend on its discretion every year. It is not necessary to distribute dividend every year. So, it is optional for the company, whether to distribute the dividend or not. Generally, it is seen that, those companies which have excellent opportunity to reinvest in business, distribute less, or no dividend at all. And, it is also seen that, companies which have strong fundamentals, and which are not very capital intensive can afford to distribute high dividend. So, if you have invested in dividend stocks, and you are wondering, when will you get dividend? So, you must aware of some important dates to receive dividend. Let's begin with declaration date. Declaration date is the date on which dividend is declared by the company. So, declaration date is basically referred as an announcement date. Then, there will be a record date followed by the declaration date. Record date is the date to determine the names of the shareholders, who are entitled to get dividend. And, ex-dividend date is the date prior to which you should purchase shares, to get dividend. So, if you purchase the shares on the ex-dividend date, or after the ex-dividend date, then you are not eligible to get dividend, and it is known as ex-dividend. And, shares bought before the ex-dividend date, are called Cum Dividend, which means you are entitled to receive dividend on those shares, and, finally, dividend payout is the date, on which company pays dividend to the shareholders. However, shareholders may get dividend during a year, which is called interim dividend, or may get dividend after completion of the year, which is called final dividend. Interim dividend is the dividend, given by the board of directors, before the annual general meeting on its own. Final dividend is the last dividend for the year, declared by the company in its annual general meeting, by the approval of the shareholders. Now, we will discuss the fundamentals of some good dividend-paying stocks. Government companies and IT companies are generally seen of distributing high dividend. We will consider two stocks with high dividend yield, for discussion. Let's begin with NALCO, which is National Aluminium Company Limited. If you look at its financial trend, revenue has grown at a yearly rate of 10% over the last 5 years, and net income has grown at a yearly rate of 21.97% over the last 5 years. NALCO has no long-term borrowings. So, it is a debt-free company, which makes it very attractive for the investors. Let's look at the shareholding pattern of NALCO. Promoters have holding of almost 51%, mutual funds have 8%, domestic institutional investors have invested around 14%, foreign institutional investors have holdings of around 11%, and finally, retail investors invested around 23% in this company. If you look at its other statistics, it has dividend yield of around 19% and price-to-book ratio of 0.55, which makes it attractive for the investors. And, deliverables of 35% reflects that, investors have so much confidence in NALCO. Now, let's take ONGC, which is an oil and natural gas corporation limited. If you look at its financial trend, revenue has grown at a yearly rate of 19% over the last 5 years, and net income has grown at a yearly rate of 2.8% over the last 5 years. It has no long-term loan on standalone basis, which makes it a debt-free company. Let's look at the shareholding pattern of ONGC. Promoters have holding of almost 60%, mutual funds also invested around 7%, Domestic institutional investors have a huge stake of around 18%, foreign institutional investors have holdings of around 7.6%, and finally, other, or retail investors also invested around 14% in ONGC. If you look at other statistics of ONGC, it has dividend yield of more than 8%, and price to book ratio of 0.53, makes it very attractive option for the investors. Also, confidence of investors in ONGC is reflected in its trade, which is witnessed by more than 36% of deliverables. And, thank you guys for watching the video. Stay tuned for more updates. If you like the video, do comment and share it with your friends, and don't forget to hit the like button, and subscribe to Investment Wall. And, you can use referral link to open Zerodha Demat account from description box.